Today, I'm excited to show you exactly pictures of the foods that I consumed to train my body to end its addiction to toxic foods, to make my body healthier inside and out. And I'm excited to teach you guys how. Welcome to Health with Ivory. Check out my new logo. It is a brand new YouTube channel, so please hit subscribe on this channel as I help to educate you guys on what has worked for me and learn even more things with you guys on this channel. All right, so one of you guys commented to me, okay, we get that sugar is a top cause of cancer, diabetes, mental health issues, chronic acne, all kinds of other issues, but how the heck do I get off of sugar? How on earth do you quit sugar? It is so addictive, and that's the first toxic food that we're going to address that I had to really work to get off of this addiction to sugar. Getting off of sugar actually cured my chronic acne, and it took a long time to do that. In 2018, I started to slowly wean off of it. Key foods that I would use to wean off of sugar, for example, cookies. I loved to eat cookies every day. Turns out there are lots of substitutes for cookies that are not loaded with processed white sugar. One thing that I would buy at Whole Foods was the chewy fudge cookies. They are sweetened with applesauce, way healthier. I would also buy their mini cheesecakes, which have no added sugar. They taste phenomenal. Their coconut rolls, cocoa rolls, were sweetened with coconut sugar, which is low glycemic, not highly processed like white sugar, way better for you. Also, when I would crave any sweets, one thing I would eat was organic berries or grapes. Those would really satisfy my sweet tooth. If you just switch to any fruit, pick your favorite fruit, eat fruit instead of processed white sugar, you can really start to whittle away at that addiction to the processed white sugar, which is plaguing your body. Chocolate. I loved chocolate. And I've told you guys about my addiction to s'mores. I would make s'mores every day. If I didn't have an actual fire, I would heat the marshmallow in the microwave. That's just another one of the sugars that I would begin substituting with fruit and actually with kombucha too. Now, a lot of kombuchas are actually loaded with just as much sugar and they're toxic for you, but there's a few brands that are lower in sugar, or the sweetener that they do have in there is better for you. Lower sugar, better for you ingredient kombuchas, the ones that I would ingest were Holy Kombucha and GT's, delicious brands and much more healthy ingredients, lower sugar. So that's a good substitute not only for your cravings for s'mores or cookies or whatever that is sweet, but the kombucha is also a great substitute for any sugary drinks or alcoholic beverages. I loved even going out with friends and they would be drinking alcohol or, beer. If kombucha was available instead, I would just go for the kombucha. There was this one bar when I lived in Minneapolis that was a brewery that brewed beer and kombucha. I loved that place because I could just order the kombucha while my friends were drinking beer and everyone was happy. But another substitute for sugary drinks or alcohol is sparkling water. Like you could take Topo Chico and squeeze fresh lime into it, or San Pellegrino, squeeze fresh lime. I loved to do that. Or Zevia, I have this right here. This is a flavored Topo Chico sparkling water, 10 calories, 0 sugar. Now this does have some, added ingredients like natural flavor, which are questionable. What actually is natural flavors? I think there's some chemicals in there, so I still avoid this as much as possible. But if you're really craving something, it's a way better substitute than just going for something that's loaded with sugar or alcohol. So this, or Zevia, is another brand that I like to drink of sparkling water. It's allegedly sweetened with stevia, which we're learning more lately that stevia is actually processed with added toxins in it. So when you're buying stevia, make sure to check the ingredients and buy the cleanest stevia that hopefully just says stevia. But if it has added things like natural flavor, what is natural flavor? Why is that in the stevia? Then you might be taking some toxins with your stevia. So plain sparkling water or just water with lime or lemon would be the cleanest. I used to chew gum every day when I was dieting. It would help me not feel the cravings for food if I could just chew on gum. One day I was chewing gum in the TV news car when I was working for Fox, and my videographer simply said, "Hey, look at the ingredients in that gum." Aspartame was a key ingredient in gum. I realized that I was consuming loads of toxic aspartame every day because I would chew a lot of gum. Aspartame is a key cause of dementia. It erodes your brain. So I quit gum cold turkey, which was hard on my diet, hard to cure your cravings when you're used to gum for curing your cravings. But one thing that I was able to switch to cure cravings, since I couldn't have gum, was just herbal tea. Being able to sip on something. Herbal tea is great for you. There's so many different teas that have nourishing nutrients. So I would sip on the tea, but there is also gum at Whole Foods that does not have aspartame. At any of the health food stores, you can probably find brands of gum that do not contain aspartame. So that's a good substitute as well when you're avoiding gum. Chips are delicious and unfortunately very toxic. They're toxic because they are cooked with rancid oils. In fact, most of the baked goods, most all carbs at the store that are packaged are cooked with rancid oils. So in searching for chips that I could eat, it was difficult. There was one brand of popcorn at Whole Foods or other health food stores, or sometimes just the health food section of a regular grocery store will have this one brand of popcorn that does not have the rancid oils. Also, the only brand of chips I could find that didn't have the ultra rancid kinds of oils was Siete brand chips. They are cooked with avocado oil, which is a little bit heartier oil in that the molecular makeup of avocado oil can withstand heat a little bit better, so it's not going to go rancid. But if you're looking at chips that contain vegetable oil, canola oil, safflower oil, corn oil, any of those plant oils, they go rancid under heat. So you can bet your bottom dollar that the chips, when you're eating them, you're eating rancid oils, which are going to rip through your bloodstream, create oxidized cholesterol, which leads to heart disease, actually. So avoid those chips and look for chips that have a little heartier, more saturated oil. Yes, it's true, saturated fat, according to the science, is actually better for you. Unlike the propaganda says from the American Heart Association, it's reverse. Another substitute for chips is pork rinds, actually. You can eat pork rinds. Look for the ones that are just the rinds with salt. I actually love to eat seaweed snacks as a substitute for chips. I know a lot of people think they're super weird. I think they're absolutely delicious, and they come in various flavored seasonings. Or you can chop up fresh jicama, put tahini on it, and that can be a delicious, very healthy and fresh substitute for chips. Breads. Okay, so breads and baked goods are not really something that I actually never crave bread, fortunately, but I know a lot of people do. But there's a great substitute for bread that I have used before, actually, for making like a breakfast sandwich. Ezekiel bread is so good for you. It's sprouted grain, and it is not highly processed like those other breads. Really good for you. I did used to really like donuts. I had an addiction to donuts for a while. When I was working at NBC Minneapolis, Care 11, they would bring in donuts on Fridays. I loved those things. But again, the sweets that I mentioned earlier from Whole Foods or other health food stores, like those chewy fudge cookies, they are so delicious. And they're sweetened with applesauce. There's literally so many options that don't have that processed white sugar that you can consume instead. And just stay away from people who are eating those sweets. Don't allow those sweets in your house, because you will have moments of temptation. If the sweets are not actually in your house, then you can continue to avoid those sweets. Okay. I go into more depth on some of this stuff in the previous YouTube I did about quitting my biggest addiction, which is on my news YouTube channel. Okay. That's youtube.com/Ivory Hecker. When you're cutting all of these foods out, you can add more grass-fed, pasture-raised beef. You should just be adding not just beef, but pasture-raised chicken, any grass-fed and pasture-raised meat. Eat a high-protein diet. It's going to keep you more satisfied and less hungry. Don't just eat the meats that are low fat. Eat high fat meats. The saturated fat in the meat is actually good for you, according to the science, contrary to American Heart Association propaganda. We talk about that more in my previous video I just mentioned. So eat lots of organic, grass-fed, pasture-raised meat and organic veggies, lots of organic veggies. Cook them in grass-fed butter and all those healthy fats, and it will help you feel satisfied so that you crave less of the toxic foods. This is what has worked for me. Cooking the veggies in coconut oil, grass-fed butter, olive oil, lard, any animal fat, sometimes avocado oil as well, that is going to be a lot healthier for you. This is what I'm doing, and it has worked for me. Steak and burgers are not toxic foods. You can still eat those, but when I eat burgers, I actually, not only I make sure that it's grass-fed burger meat, if at all possible, which I also get from Patriot Switch, grass-fed and organic grain finished, actually, patriotswitch.com/ivory. Now, I actually make a lettuce burger instead of using a bun because, again, the bread from the bun is toxic. Those white flour buns are just not good for you whatsoever. I use lettuce, and instead of mayo, I actually use grass-fed kefir. Kefir is really a fantastic probiotic, wonderful for gut health, which having good gut health can actually cure your cravings as well. And then I add hot sauce. So instead of ketchup and mayo, it's hot sauce and kefir. I think it tastes amazing. I love spicy anyway. Okay, when I do have hot tea, recently I've been having it with cream or almond milk or, half and half. I just love that stuff. Try to get raw cream if you can from raw milk. And then I add stevia or honey. Honey is good for you. Coffee is not necessarily toxic, but I actually weaned off of coffee because I felt that it was giving me anxiety. I switched to mud water, which is a mushroom drink. I stir mud water scoop into hot water, add collagen. Healthwithivory.com is my favorite collagen. Healthwithivory.com, link down in description, as well as almond milk and stevia. That's how I make the mud water. Scoop of mud water and hot water with collagen, almond milk, stevia. That is my substitute for coffee in the morning. Kind of tastes like a latte. Pretty great. I used to love gas station snacks as a reporter out in the field. I would just live off of that food from the gas station. Very unhealthy. But a few gas station snacks that you can still eat as you're weaning off of the toxic candies and chips and Gardettos at the gas station and all those beverages that are so toxic and delicious. You can still buy the jerky from the gas station if you can find jerky versions that don't have added sugar and are grass-fed. That is the ideal. Their Quest bars are good. Quest bars, as I recall, are sweetened with stevia, which is good. Kind bars, I would eat those a lot. They have pretty natural ingredients, a lot of just nuts in there, and they only have 5 grams of sugar, so lower sugar. So I would eat the Kind bars. I haven't eaten those in a while because I'm trying to be even more strict with my diet, slowly wean off of these things, get stricter and stricter until you're eating super clean. That's what I'm trying to do right now. And then I would actually drink the Bai water. It's flavored water that it just tastes great, I think, and it's sweetened with stevia, but again, it's not as clean as just drinking water. But if you're looking for some sort of flavored drink, the Bai water was my go-to, which I still occasionally drink, and that helped me wean off of the toxic foods. Now, as I mentioned in a previous video, one of the key things I did as I was weaning off sugar is tell myself that I could still have any serving of sugar that I wanted once a month. So I could eat the most toxic dessert that I wanted once a month. And that really helped me wean off because it's not total deprivation, letting myself know that I can still have what I really crave and dream of or whatever, some chocolate cake or brownies or something. Have that once a month. That kept me going, saying, okay, I can hold out and eat clean this many days because, on this day I'm going to be able to have exactly what I really addictively dream of eating. Eating that once a month, it was still infrequent enough to slowly kill my addiction so that, and I still do that to this day. Like the once a month serving of sugar is really helpful to me to continue feeling like I'm not totally deprived of the things that look so delicious. So creating a plan where you do allow some toxic foods occasionally, in a set quantity and on a set occasion or whatever, can really help with the addiction. Because if you just say, I'm never eating sugar again, that can be too daunting and you'll end up throwing in the towel completely. So create a plan where you still do get to have a little bit of that, and that will keep you going. And, if you mess up, have forgiveness for yourself and remind yourself of the why you are doing this for yourself, the long-term benefits you're going to see, and look to people inspire you who've already accomplished those goals you're going for as far as health and clean eating. And, keep focusing on the end result. Keep a positive, surround yourself with a positive environment. Decrease stress, because the more stressed you are, the less self-control you have. Try to build that self-control by creating a tranquil environment, and that will really help. That is just what has helped me. So I thought I would break these things down for you. Let me know what you think, and please remember to subscribe to my new Health with Ivory YouTube. Let me know what other health issues that you would like me to focus on in the comment section.